Writing a novel is hard. It takes both a lot of work and a lot of persistence. And then to get the readers or agents to actually read it, your first chapter has to do a lot of work, especially when you've created your own setting. Getting the pacing just right, especially for the first chapter, is a challenge for most writers. Welcome back to Morgan's Writing Tips and Writerly Musings with writing tips from the pros and, of course, my own writerly musings. I'm your host, Morgan Hazelwood, and today I'm here to talk about pacing your first chapter. Now, I'm currently editing a novel that I hope to start sending to agents in the next couple of months, and I've been really worried about the pacing of my first chapter because it has to do so much. So let's talk about things your first chapter needs to do. Number one, introduce the characters. Two, show the world. Three, set up the central conflicts. And four, balance the characters, the setting, and the plot details and make it all blend without letting the pacing drop. That's a lot to ask for one chapter, and everyone has their own technique for making it work. Most of us can tell when it's working, but it can be a struggle to know exactly what needs fixing. So, here are five techniques to hone that first chapter. As with all writing advice, do what works for you and your process. But here are a few of the multitude of techniques I've heard from other writers. Tip number one, build to the inciting incident. The inciting incident is the thing that kicks the main character out of status quo and starts the plot. It usually carries the plot through at least the first third of the story, but its consequences echo further. Agents these days are asking for the inciting incident to happen within the first 10 pages. While there is a current bias toward fast paced stories, even slower stories should be introducing the concepts that will set up the inciting incident or foreshadow it. Tip number two for honing that first chapter, ask yourself, am I starting in the right place? I have heard many publishing professionals say that most stories, especially from debut authors, start in the wrong spot and usually too early. The writer wants to explain what's going on, show how the character got into the mess in the first place, or really delve into the expansive world that they've created. While you often need to write these pages for yourself so you know your character and your world's backstory, it often doesn't need to be on the page for the final draft. Occasionally, the writer starts too late, often during the inciting incident. Many writers are given the advice to start in media res in the middle of things, and so they start at the peak of an argument or the moment the chase gets dangerous. While exciting, your readers don't know enough to care about your characters. Getting the balance right without slowing the pace can be a challenge. Often, it's easier to back up just a little bit. Back the story up 5 minutes and let the tension build. So, tip number three for honing that first chapter is to scatter your info dumps. While info dumps are generally considered something to avoid, many writers find a character in their pages, explaining, for the sake of the reader, with a long, as you know, Bob, diatribe on how the world works or what the character's backstory is. But when you've got all of this backstory, you need to explain so that the readers will understand the character's motivation and world building so that the readers can visualize the world. You need to convey the information somehow. Making your readers care about your character is important. Establishing your setting and showing how it influences the characters and plot is important. Thus, you filter it through dialogue and action. Sprinkle it in one or two sentences at a time while the characters are doing something or saying other things. Although, if the reader has to skim back to remember the dialogue the character is replying to, you've added too much. There is an exception to the no diatribes rule, since most characters don't go around explaining or thinking about how normal things in their world works. The exception is complaining. While we don't explain how doors work, we do complain about them swinging the wrong way. We will complain in excruciating detail everything we hate about our routines. Tip number 4, write the first chapter last. Some writers pick a starting point and go from there, but once they finished writing the manuscript and know the shape of the ending, they use that to echo the themes from the resolution back at the beginning. This technique, when done with a deft touch, can add to a reader's sense of satisfaction at the end. Tip 5 for honing that first chapter, have a new reader critique your first chapter. As the writer of the opening chapter, knowing everything about the world and the characters and what's to come, it is impossible for you to see what is there. I know. While you can read the words, none of it is new knowledge to you, so it's hard to tell how clear your explanations are. It's hard to tell what's confusing because the reader doesn't know a certain detail that's explained concisely a few pages on. People who have already beta read your stories or critiqued your pages are going to have a lighter version of the same problem. Thus, you need a fresh reader, especially unpolished first chapters. So, get fresh eyes on your opening pages before you send them out. Closing thoughts. I occasionally use my own advice. Back to that space fantasy, I'm currently moving my inciting incident closer to the beginning of the story. Plus, I did have a fresh reader go over it, and while there were one or two problem spots, for the most part, I'd scattered my info dumps with a light touch. So, authors rock those first pages that you love reading. Let me know. Are there any techniques that I missed? Which of these is your favorite? As always, I'll be back again next week with more writing tips and writerly musings. Bye bye.